Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Tech Frenzy. Today's video, we saw, just earlier on today, AMD earnings, which I want to talk to from a perspective of being an Nvidia shareholder, as well as Upstart earnings, which I also want to speak on as a SoFi shareholder. Now, those are some of the largest positions that I have, SoFi and especially Nvidia. So today was a very important day for companies that show pretty good comps for what we are going to see. However, I don't know if they're perfect comps. They're not one-to-ones. I would take the opinion that SoFi is a market leader compared to Upstart, especially on originating personal loans and other loans like home loans. We don't do autos other than referral. And then Nvidia on the side of data center GPU expansion, pretty freaking great. Now, both companies that we ended up seeing, both AMD and Upstart, saw pretty significant sell-offs in the after hours. Now, the after hours is finished, but AMD is down 6.33% to 163.26. Pretty significant drop-off from where we actually started the call, ran up over 2+%, which was honestly where I thought that we were going to be headed whenever I originally saw the numbers, and still think that it was a very good quarter and that AMD shareholders that are holding for the long term should still be happy with some of the results that we ended up seeing. Okay. Some of the answers on the call I wish were answered a little bit better in terms of how fast they expect to ramp up to these $10+ billion revenue quarters. But overall, a positive story, I think, led by Lisa Su there, and long-term shareholders should still remain very confident. Now, Upstart was another really interesting one, climbing over 10% whenever numbers originally came out. We waited, roughly 60 seconds, and then down it came. And then we ended up at the low point, I think down like nearly 13+%, and then slowly tried to climb back up to the 3% mark. Okay. Very, very interesting from Upstart as well. Now, it's from my understanding that Upstart ended up falling due to a take rate issue. That whenever you were to divide out the amount of overall originations that they did in terms of number of dollars and divide it out by the amount of revenue, that essentially we had dropped on the take rate by roughly 100 basis points. Okay. On the contrary, whenever you compare it to SoFi, which has a much lower take rate on their loan platform business today, actually ended up climbing. So a little bit of a similar situation that I ended up talking about with Coinbase being up here and having to come down. It's not always the greatest sign that investors want to see. However, on the contrary, where Robinhood is in the crypto take rate, that they're starting low and working their way up, investors have an easier time modeling that and get much more excited and put multiples on the company whenever they see expanding margins. So I think that in this loan platform business, Upstart's up here coming down, and SoFi is down here coming up. It actually does look better for SoFi so far. However, Upstart is still charging more on their personal loan side. Now, overall, from everything that I can see from Upstart, this was a phenomenal quarter. Okay. Aside from that take rate issue that I think the market had sold off a little bit too hard at the beginning, it should have been up 10+% because it was, a strong quarter. They pulled to profitability a quarter faster than they thought they would. Margins were high. Originations were up 154% year over year. This is exactly what you want from a company like this, right? However, once people started to do the math on their take rate on their loans, they quickly sold it off down to 13%, but the market is starting to recover from that. And honestly, I could see us opening up positively tomorrow, which would be very, very interesting, going from something that was down 13% in the after hours to potentially being up overall. Raise your hand if you came to calm your shift 4 nerves. Let me say right here, you can be calm. Okay. I listened to the earnings call, went through the numbers. Everything looks fine. Everything looks fine. I think there's some things that you can nitpick on, Like the fact that they said that they're raising guidance, and then you look at the amount that they raise guidance by, and it's just global blue. And so what you're actually seeing is an amount that you're coming in at, which is less than what you're anticipating over the midterm, which is 3 years of hopefully getting to 30+% growths. Okay. So if you come in at a 27% growth rate for Shift 4, that's just not exactly what you want to see from a company that should be keeping up higher growth rates. But I still think that it is such a great, like, unbelievable business. The expansion that they're going through right now, the acquisitions, I'm so happy about the clarity that they're giving on Global Blue. It seems like it's actually going to be a really good acquisition. Classic Shift 4 strategy. So I'm a happy shareholder here. Now, it does suck whenever one of your companies that you're holding, falls intraday. Like I mean, we went from $103 a share to, at one point during the day, $82. That's never fun. At 87, which is probably what we're going to open at tomorrow, it's a little bit more comforting. But if you guys are long-term Shift 4 shareholders and are worried about the business, I don't think you have anything to worry about. They are a dominant force in the segments that they play in, which continues to grow. Now, the big thing is, are they going to be able to expand and really get a sticky foothold in unified commerce? Okay. Obviously, we've known that they've done it in stadiums. We know that they've done it in restaurants. We know that they've done it in hospitality. If they do it in unified commerce, you could see a multiple on that stock that expands drastically. That's the hope. Okay. There have been some aspects of Shift 4's business for which they've tried, like getting into e-commerce, like Shift 4 shops and stuff like that, that has not really worked out and have just kind of been, I don't want to say failures, that's a strong word, but just completely given up on. But yes, Bobby D is correct. Taylor sounded confident. Also, there was a statement that we knew about, but it was always great to be affirmed during the call, that Taylor said Jared being dropped from being the NASA nominee was a failure for America and the country. However, it was a benefit for Shift 4 because he's just back to work. That was very strong to hear. Okay. He's the largest shareholder in the business. He's not going to be, by the way, he's not selling any of the business. So if he's letting someone else run his money, it just seems like a strong thing for him to do, considering the fact that that's where most of his money or most of the share of the business is tied up in, right? If we just quickly take a little peek at Shift 4's ownership here on Fiscal AI, we could see Jared Isaacman, 2.1 million shares, 3% of the business. The next highest person doesn't even have 1/10 of his ownership. Okay, market share of over 194 million. That's after today's drop. It was over 200 million before. Like that's a larger share of his aspect of Shift 4 than what Noto has of SoFi. Okay, and Taylor down here, he's the new CEO. He's the one that's taken over, but he's been at the company since 2005. 2004. Took a little bit of a hiatus. So I think he did 2004 to 2006 and then took a few years off, then came back in like 2017 or something. A few years. It was like a decade, but still. Now he's the CEO. But Jared Isaacman's still very much there, has a lot of shares of the business. All right. What's a good entry point for SoFi right now? I mean, it depends on you as an investor. If you're a long-term shareholder and wanting a really, really great fintech that's continuing to dominate and beat expectations, like now, because you don't know that we're going to see lower entries in this. Obviously, I'd say, hey, if you can get a $10 average, do that. But it might not be guaranteed, or it might not happen into the future. I think that we have hit an inflection point in SoFi. It's like one of those things, there's a saying with recessions that we don't actually know we're in a recession until, 6 months later. And I think that's what's happened with SoFi. I think SoFi's inflection point was Q3 of 2024, and no one even really knew it. And it's whenever we got the loan platform business that the stock did end up going up on that news. Okay, we ended up going from $7 to $14. And then in this most recent run, we went from 14 to 21. But that was the moment. Q3 of 2024 is whenever we saw that the loan platform business existed. And I think that the quarters from now on are going to be extremely bullish. Extremely. Like what Upstart wants to do, I think is what SoFi is going to do. And, you know, there's no getting mad at SoFi about take rate, compression or sales and marketing budgets that explode upward, because the benefits for, new members is so much stronger in the face of a SoFi's business than what it is for Upstart. That's also another really interesting part. If we go ahead and take a look at Upstart really quickly. Here, wait, 1 second. I just need to change this. We're going to do as reported in quarterly. If we look at sales and marketing really quick, this is for Upstart. And there we go. That what you can see is that sales and marketing has exploded. Now, if we were to overline or include revenue, and then we'll also put these on different axes, that they line up their sales and marketing with the amount of revenue that they're expecting. Okay? On purpose. They have a way of generating new customers by going to people that are extremely hot for new loans and saying, hey, if you want a new loan, we have them here at Upstart. And they only do that whenever they have money from their partners. So many people don't know Upstart's business very well, but essentially they have models that have a way of determining that someone will pay back loans or not for usually lower FICO, lower income individuals. Okay. They do this for personal loans, home loans, auto loans, stuff like this. And they need to, because they're not a bank, they need to go out to other companies and say, hey, we will underwrite for you at a better rate than what you're going to do because we have these special models. And if you give us money, we will take it and go to market and get loans for you that you can house on your books. Okay. That's exactly what you're seeing here. So as they get more capital from banks, they go out and they increase sales and marketing, and that increases revenue. Great. Okay. Once they do that, someone gets a loan, but they don't really need Upstart anymore. They've received the capital, they've set auto pay or whatever they're paying back, and they get that 100%. But SoFi is going to follow this exact same strategy. And whenever you see Upstart go up, it's the exact same product. Like, that's the interesting part about personal loans. They can differ in certain ways, payback periods, interest rates, auto pay versus there's different ways that they end up charging interest, or like there's ways to make personal loans different, but at the end of the day, it's a lump sum check of cash. Okay. And that's not too hard to replicate. So what really separates, SoFi and Upstart is how well they get their underwriting done, which Upstart gets very excited about because they have AI models that do a lot of that. Anthony Noto says that that's a crock of BS, by the way. He does not believe in it at all. And then two, what is the customer experience? So for Upstart, you go in, you get your loan, you pay it back similarly to a relationship that you would have with a firm, for example. But SoFi, you go in, you get a loan, you get a checking account, you get a debit card, you get a credit card, you get a brokerage. You're coming back every day. You're collecting rewards points every day. It's an app that you open up every single day, maybe multiple times a day. Okay. That's a very different experience than an auto-paid loan on another app. So SoFi, or the reason why I like to follow Upstart so much is that whenever you see their sales and marketing bump up and you see their guidance bump up, that's bullish for SoFi as well. They're saying, hey, the macro is super good. Get ready. But you can apply that to SoFi as well. The macro is good. They're in the same countries with the same types of products. And in fact, SoFi actually has a much more affluent customer. So, yeah. Now, SoFi is absolutely not down because of the low price target, by the way. Stocks just fluctuate, but this Timothy Switzer or whatever that ended up putting out his target he went in the last couple weeks, he went from $9 to $13, 13 to 13, 13 to 13, and now 13 to 14. If anything, the dude's a bull. Like, he honestly, I wouldn't even say anything mean about him. The guy's improved his price over the course of a single quarter that he ended up seeing from 9 to 14. That's a massive bump up. I mean, he essentially increased the price by more than 50% of what he saw before on a single quarter. Okay. So if anything, he's slowly getting converted. He's getting light blue pilled, SoFi pilled. I don't know the color of SoFi. Sky blue pilled. I wouldn't say that he's a bad person or anything along those lines. I've never even heard him speak about the company other than reading his reports. He doesn't yeah. Teal? Yeah, I guess it's teal. Yes, I have purchased SoFi recently. I purchased SoFi this week. But I think that Upstart is a really good reason to realize that the stock of SoFi can continue to climb. I honestly think, if we take a look right here, and I'm not saying that Upstart is not a company to purchase as well. I mean, I have nothing against the Upstart bull case because it is an interesting one. I just like the benefits of SoFi even more, of going out and doing that whole sales and marketing approach and then also asking for additional products and services. But look at this year over year. Like, this is the amount of dollars that they are giving out in terms of loans. From 1 billion to 1.5 to 2 to 2 to 2.8. That's incredible. But it's in the same environment as SoFi. Now, the only difference is this is another one, right? The conversion rates, which is not a thing that SoFi ends up talking about. They don't talk about the amount of customers that they actively try to get a loan to that end up saying yes or no. That's something that Upstart likes to talk about often, as well as the fully automated. And this is another part that I wanted to show off right here. So Upstart has 92% of their loans that have zero human intervention. Okay. So they have products that go out to advertise to customers based on XYZ. And then there's a sort of sales funnel to get to a loan, underwrite them, and finish it off, giving them their money. And 92% of the time, they don't even need an employee to help with that transaction. And as you can see, that has been slowly improving over time, even gradually. Near the top, we have 89%, then 90%, then 91%, which hung out there for a while, then 92%. And hopefully, the extreme bull case was that we're going to see a 93% or a 94% into the future, right? That means that you can scale the amount of loans that you have with much less headcount than what you would have previously needed to scale at 71 or 74% previously. Okay. That's a huge, huge deal. So if they can continue to hold that up, that's a successful model. SoFi doesn't talk about these types of metrics, so we don't know how that's essentially going. George, thank you so much for becoming a member, my friend. Do appreciate it. Let's see. How much concern is there with these loans going to collections and the money never being repaid? Well, that's why you follow, the success of the actual loans, and their underwriting is decent. Okay. They have shown off, let's see if I can find this slide. I don't know if I remember seeing it in this quarter, but they compare their default rates versus FICO or other types of models. Now, the thing is that many banks have their own proprietary ways of understanding a customer, and many do not just go off of FICO scores or something like this. SoFi does not underwrite based on FICO. They underwrite based on the cash flow of the individual customer. So if you have money coming in and a lot of money going out, they still think that you're a high-risk customer. If you have a lot of money coming in and not a lot of money going out, they think that you could probably pay it back. And so far, that's worked out for SoFi. What happens when people default? Well, it's not Upstart's problem. That's the cool thing about the loan platform business to some degree, is that it wouldn't impact their balance sheet too much. They have some loss sharing agreements and stuff like this where they have to take on some of those problems, but that's how confident they are in that they're picking customers that will end up paying those loans back, is that they're able to say, hey, you know what, if something does go wrong, we'll also help flip the bill. But investors don't like that. What company hits 31st, new or SoFi? SoFi. SoFi. It's just so close already. It's not playing an even game. And then let alone the headwinds that Nubank is facing right now, it could be a little bit. Noto loves adjusted EBITDA. Yes, he does. But it's a better way of understanding their business than some GAAP principles that don't do SoFi justice for the way that they hold their loans. Let's see. Any other questions? Mr. T made me rich. Is that me or the actual Mr. T? How did the actual Mr. T make you rich? Yeah, whenever they underwrite loans for Upstart, they go ahead and sell those loans to banks. And in fact, they do exactly what SoFi did with the loan platform business before the loan platform business was even a thing. They take other banks' collateral and try to write loans. You? Oh, well, thanks, Kay. I appreciate that. Congratulations on you being rich now. You buying Amazon here? I absolutely would. I'm not trying to actively avoid Amazon or anything. It's just a matter of how much cash I actually have and what I'm buying. But talk about AMD. Are you getting in? I thought, if we end up as low as we are today, or I might do a starter position on Amazon, or on AMD, but then I look at Nvidia, right? So this is another part that I wanted to talk about. Whenever I look at the growth rates and the operating income of data centers, and I understand that they are scaling right now, and that won't be the case forever, and that it will ramp into much higher growth rates at better margins. Nvidia is just there already. I'm just very confident holding a market leader and knowing that they're going to succeed and don't have to worry about a level. Well, obviously there is execution risk that Jensen continues to do what is right, but it's the same level of management that we've been sort of following for 30 years. So I have sort of a feeling that he's going to do the right thing, and that they like this quarter from AMD was not representative of what Nvidia is going to do. Okay, if we end up looking at the CapEx spend of all the major hyperscalers, Amazon, Meta, Google, Microsoft, they are expanding like crazy. CapEx is climbing. You have sovereign entities that are now also making big bids, which is what Lisa Su talked about today, as well as, these neoclouds that are also getting involved. There's so much spend, like the Nebulouses of the world, stuff like this. There is so much unbelievable spend, and it's going towards the likes of AMD and Nvidia, but it didn't look to me that the data center growth from AMD this quarter lined up with the amount of spend that increased this quarter from April, May, and June of 2025. So I just think if it's not going there, it could be going into custom silicon, Broadcom, such like this. But most likely is that Nvidia could also see market share expansion again. And if that's going to be the case, we could see margins expand as well, which could absolutely happen in the phase of sort of getting out these GB300 chips. I'm just very, very excited, and I had wished that AMD would have even have been more bullish, but this didn't take away from my bullishness on Nvidia. She was very excited about the future. She talked about the, multi-year build out. She sees what is coming. It's just what percentage of the market will AMD be involved in on the GPU side, not even talking about on a CPU side. Were you named after someone who treats leather? I think you'd have to say I was. That is a tanner, but I don't know. It's just a common white guy name. I don't know. But then my parents decided to spell it wrong anyway, so I don't know what I am. Would you buy SMCI here at this low? Brent, I don't like companies that there's just too many risks. Okay. I don't like whenever their auditor or third party auditor has problems with their business. So it could be a slamming buy, like unbelievable. If they can get back on their feet and take the market share that they were having in servers before, but it's just too much risk. I mean, if your tolerance for risk reward is high, then yeah, potentially getting in after the 16% sell-off could be quite interesting. But it's not a name really that I'm looking at anymore. I've had much more success buying in, like someone said on a call, whenever I was talking with Amit and Roy, and they said Tanner's always late to these stocks. But I don't even think that's true, but let's say I am. I've had much more success buying into something after it's moved 10% and has promised to be a winner than buying things on the way down whenever things can get much, much worse. So unless you really know a company and you know the strengths and everything like this, might be a great time to buy in after a large sell-off. But, and I didn't see Upstart's, well, I mean, we covered Upstart's quarter. I think they missed on EPS, beats just slightly on revenue. I could get my numbers wrong here, so I apologize. But we did cover some of their numbers and CEO commentary and everything like this. But I would not chase just because a company that's in a fast-growing market has dropped a lot. Okay? Not every company is built the same. I would make sure that they are the winners. And that's sort of what I'm trying to see with PayPal as well, is like Roy brought up a good point with PayPal, is like, you could just wait for them to go from or start to actually see some respect from the markets and then jump aboard. Okay. You hamper your total potential gains if you were to have bought in at a trough, but also you don't know it's a trough. It could continue to fall, and you could get better pricing later on. But in a way, you almost are increasing the chance that the outcome is actually what you're expecting. And in the meantime, I'm still holding on to winners like, Nvidia, Robinhood, Shopify, SoFi. Like I'll be fine. Open Door under 2. Does it really have the potential to go above 50 per share in the future? I mean, anything is possible. I would say it's not the company that I will be betting on for those exact same reasons that I had just talked about. I would wait for Upstart on a multiples basis, not even on just a pure hype basis, actually start to climb in terms of its performance to then hop aboard and get excited about that business. Similar to what like Upstart is doing. Upstart's been in this nice trough for a long time, but now you're finally able to purchase some shares of Upstart, and you have a better chance of being correct because they've improved their models. They've increased, the amount that they are fully automating their loans, and it's just more of a real purchase than what it was a couple quarters ago. Yeah, you've missed out on a deeper trough, but you're not losing money. And I think retail doesn't talk about losing money enough and what that does to your overall gains. Everyone's chasing 10Xs, and a lot of people get burnt, and they don't talk about the total portfolio gains nearly enough. And yeah. So Open Door, sorry, to 50, it's possible, but I would probably bet closer on the company going bankrupt than to 50. Open Door probably has worse odds than Blackjack. I mean, just from the way that the stock is trading, I think that's actually a very accurate statement, is that it has worse odds than Blackjack. I'm a little worried of Robinhood taking SoFi market share. I wouldn't be too worried. If you actually look at you could just look at the amount of customers that were added, and this includes international customers and everything, that for which Robinhood has a much larger total addressable market than SoFi right now on a customer basis. They added 750,000 new members. SoFi added 830,000. Okay. Robinhood ended up, without the acquisition of Bitstamp, adding about 200,000 customers. SoFi added 830,000. So it should honestly be a little bit the other way around. And no one sees it that way because one company's stock is climbing much faster than the other. But in terms of the amount of customers that are going towards SoFi versus Robinhood, it is climbing in SoFi's case, and they're actually gaining more market share on a customer basis. Now, the deepening of those customer relationships, maybe not as strong, but you might also say that it's probably easier to strengthen the relationship of an existing customer than gain a new one altogether. SoFi is a very interesting name, and because it's been a slower innovator over the last year or so, it's been highly disrespected, and the market seems to think that they have bowed out of being a fintech leader. I don't think so. If you had to choose between CoreWeave and Nebius, which would you choose? I would choose CoreWeave if I had to choose. I don't think of anything about MP Materials. Pretty interesting, their place in the market and the fact that they might be the only U.S. rare earths supplier, but I don't actively look at that space at all. So I'm only really going off of the information that I've heard from others and not actually looked into it myself. Did you hear about JP Morgan partnering with Coinbase? Yes, I did. We talked about it on stream a few days ago, but did you also hear Coinbase partnered with PayPal here in Canada, which was also very interesting. I use Coinbase occasionally, starting to do even crypto purchases and stuff like this on my own brokerage that I deal with, because they even can compete very well and sometimes much better on the pricing of the crypto coins that I'm purchasing. That being said, if I were to onboard money onto Coinbase, PayPal would be by far the easiest way that I would do that here in Canada. So loving that relationship expansion once again. I think that's like their 5th update. So Coinbase and PayPal probably going to be a complete global relationship over time. Palo Alto, Adobe, PayPal, and Amazon are my plays. These seem like mixes between tech while also trying to get some valuation. You're not paying the highest valuations for any of the software names that you could pick. You're also not missing out on all the growth and not buying the software name or like the cybersecurity names or the Amazons of the world. So I don't have a problem with this, big four, the Rim Shaker 4. But I don't know much about Adobe in this space, and I get worried around the costs that they've asked clients to pay for, especially in a agentic or AI world where there might be things that you can end up doing very easily just on OpenAI without the tools that Adobe might have offered. Being down 100K on AMD isn't fun, Dookie. I mean, yeah, I get you. That sucks. I don't like hearing that. But hopefully you're doing well. And if you're holding strong, I think honestly you'll be okay. But I don't know your personal timeline or anything. So that can definitely impact some things, but good to see you here. AMD silently popped in the beginning to 179. I know, that's actually where I thought that they should be. I was like, okay, well, this is going to crack 180. The market's going to open up very happy tomorrow. And now we're like headed for an opening tomorrow of like 160. It's a sad flip, honestly. And I don't think that they deserved it personally. Yeah, what are they at right now? I think it was AMD down 6.33%. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. 163. That is incredible. By the way, the initial reaction to essentially what was good guidance, good revenue, inline EPS, or potentially slightly down depending on if you were looking at top analysts versus all analysts. And then just immediate crash after that. Started to recover, another big crash on some dodging of questions. 161.7 overnight? Oh no, dude. That is a terrible outcome. Sorry to hear it, guys. Sorry to hear it. There were some unbelievable runners today, though. Clavio up 10.75%. Astera Labs up 15.8%. Snapchat down 14.7%. Zeta Global up 9%. That could be very real. Now, I know a lot of people have looked poorly on some of these new businesses that get overhyped. But I think the things that you actually do need to look for whenever you're trying to pick smaller, like small cap businesses that have real potential futures is dominating earnings. Okay, there's a lot that I always see where people are like, this is the next big name. And then they miss on earnings. And then the next quarter they miss. And the next quarter they miss. I never have hope for those businesses because I think retail pumps them up more than the company can even shell out. However, if you're putting up quarters that raise the stock price 9+%, and I didn't take a look too deeply at their numbers, but Zeta might be one that I end up looking a little bit deeper at, considering the fact that there has been a thesis online that this is a name that I need to take a look at. So that one I will take seriously. Copang up 2%, Open Door down 24.6%. That is, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Buy more of that AMD dip tomorrow, says Piyush. Absolutely. Or Piyush, sorry. I keep saying it wrong, or at least people said I was saying it wrong yesterday. SoFi is the next big one. Well, I do think that they're a little bit different, right? They're a $25 billion business. Like there will be some appreciation in that company already. So I don't think it's 100% equivalent, but yes. Yeah, I do think they'll continue to climb. That has been one true thing, right? Is that they just continue to dominate. Now, can we talk really quickly about another thing that SoFi Insider had pointed out to me? This was the 0.7% APY boost, meaning you can get a full 4.5%. If you open up an account, become a SoFi Plus member, you'll enjoy 6 months of 4.5% APY. Now, this is a more traditional bank approach. The Tangerines, the Ally banks, these sort of ones always try these non-permanent APYs to see if they can get large increases of sticky customer bases that they only have to pay for a little bit extra for a little bit. 4.5% is insane. Okay, that is insane. For 6 months, crazy. Now, this is not the first time they've done this. In the last couple months, they have tried this a few times with non-permanent boosts in APY. I think if that's the case, this is something that is absolutely working for them. They're realizing that the unit economics of giving someone a 0.2, 0.3, 0.5% boost is so good that they want to accelerate that even further, and they can even offer a 0.7% boost on APY to jack up member growth. And this is not normal member growth. This is SoFi Plus member growth. Guys, I'm telling you, I think what we were talking about the other day where they said, hey, we're going to try to shoot for at least 3 million new members this quarter. Or not this quarter, sorry, for the full year of 2025. For knowing how many members that they've already received over Q1 and Q2, they need about 690,000 new members per quarter. I think what we're end up going to see is over 900,000 in one of these quarters. We're probably going to see like 880 or 850 next quarter on a net basis. Probably like 880 on a gross basis. And then probably like 910 to 950,000 in Q4. And then that will lead us into a 1 million new member quarter for Q1. It's going to be insane. And the flywheel that they have created is so real. People can talk about what they think about other businesses coming in and taking that or whatever away from them. But America is a large place, okay? If Venmo can have 90 million users and Cash App have an additional 80 million, I think SoFi and Robinhood can coexist. Okay? Like those two are exact competitors and they both have thrived. Anyway, I think that once you get them in for this product, you can get the loan platform business churning. Not churning, sorry, turning. Churning, very different meaning. I was trying to put a little flavor on my language here today. I'm just changing the meaning. I'm turning negative on what I'm trying to say. And then also they've been pushing a lot of product towards SoFi Invest, saying, hey, if you actually are a SoFi Plus user and you sign up for SoFi Invest, you'll get twice the rewards whenever you like. Guys, I think we're getting to high cross-sell here, high new members, high sales and marketing in order to do that. But who the heck is mad at that? I mean, Robinhood is paying people left, right, and center for new members. They're paying, hey, if you come over, we'll give you 3% of your total portfolio. We don't care if you bring over 500 million. What? Now I respect it. I mean, I'm a shareholder. But still, 3% is crazy. Then they'll end up paying people, the most that a credit card will end up paying. They'll end up offering all these insane benefits and then make it all back up on an amazing tech stack that has, an amazing low cost to serve their members and an extremely fast rate of growth. And their old members that they got on for a high price of 3% have paid out for them over years of compounding. The people that you bring on with $10,000 in markets, their assets under custody tend to climb. You're making people richer at SoFi, at Robinhood, right? Because we see more bull markets than we see bear markets. So customers actually end up making more money for these businesses as the years go on, and then the old cohorts end up paying for the new cohorts. Little tricky Ponzi scheme that actually ends up taking market share and growing over time. So, yeah, not actually a Ponzi scheme. I'm just saying how, old customers do pay for new customers, but in the end, there is money to be made on on the products that they are offering. So it can be worth it. Like I said, Coinbase did a partnership with PayPal. That was pretty interesting. Morgan Stanley came out after Mercado Libre showed off their price or their earnings, which ended up seeing a large sell-off. You can see this here. This is one of the names in my portfolio. Ended up closing up 0.2% today. And it's an expensive stock. People have been asking for a stock split for some time, but yeah, you need about $2,400 in order to get a share of Mercado Libre. But I'm telling you, it's worth it. This is a beautiful business. If you can just hold on to the wave that this company has been creating, it just goes up and up and up. Okay. That being said, Morgan Stanley, let me just put this up here. Morgan Stanley ended up putting an overweight price target on Mercado Libre, saying that their underlying KPIs are still delivering and they're doing exactly what they said they were going to do. We've increased the price target to $28.50. Love it. Love Mercado Libre. Can't wait to see what Nubank has to say. Very happy and content shareholder. The SEC came out and said that liquid staking activities and tokens are not considered securities. So that was a pretty juicy moment for the Ethereum groups, Solana, stuff like this. And another little piece of clarity for crypto, especially in the United States, that I thought was great. Upstart CEO came out and said, hey, rule of 40, try rule of 120. Now, he is being extremely nitpicky, okay? Whenever someone talks about a rule of 40, there's also a quality of a rule of 40. Everyone talks about it, but it's not the same. If you come in with a rule of 40 with 20% growth and a 20% margin, that's decent. That's good. But if you come in with a 60% rule of 40, which doesn't make a whole rule of 60, you have a 30% growth, 30% margin, that's also very good. Whenever you start getting into the thresholds of Robinhood and Nvidia and Palantir, what you end up seeing is, hopefully, let's say if you're getting to the rule of 100, that you have a 50% growth rate at a 50% margin. That would be very exciting. Upstart said, hey, We have surpassed all of those companies' expectations. We got a rule of 20. But the truth is that 102% of that came from revenue growth and 21% of that came from EBITDA margins. Hold on. The thing that I would point out is that the 21% margin is good, but whenever you're comparing to 102% revenue growth, what's that going to look like a year from now? Are you going to double it on your 100% growth? Or was this a pretty, good comp on, or like to boost up that rule of 40? And I would give SoFi the same criticism. However, they do have a better EBITDA margin than what Upstart had just said. But yeah, I just don't like whenever they're going, hey, look at our rule of 40. It's unbelievable. And then next quarter, it's going to be 20 points lower than that because it's a really great comp. Not my favorite. Considering the revenues are lower than 2021 and 2022, that's irrelevant. I mean, well put. Well put. I do think that's how Upstart's business can be ran in an amazing macro. But then we also got to see the dark side of Upstart, which is what happens whenever capital market activity dries up. They just go away. What happens to SoFi whenever that happens? Capital markets dry up, the loan platform business goes to zero, but it's not like a stock going to zero. It'll just ramp back up whenever they have more activity. But SoFi will just end up putting that all on their own books. We still have a bank. We can still hold loans on our balance sheet. We can still continue to grow. Upstart doesn't have that ability. Not for, 1/100th the capacity that SoFi has. What is your price target for SoFi next earnings call, by the way? Like after we see the earnings? Well, it's hard for me to tell because I don't know how strong the earnings will be. But I mean, I don't know. I hope we do something like $2 a month, something like that. Put another $6 on the stock, somewhere like 28, 29 after earnings next call. That would be exciting. Yeah. I think Q3, if things keep up in the way that they've been going in July and early August, which could happen in this AI environment, is that we just have unbelievable capital market activity, unbelievable amounts of people signing up for, new checking accounts, and that growth all stems down into new personal loans and home loans. And what are they going to do with all that money that they just raised? I mean, that's going to jack up growth, and the market's going to forget that they diluted it all. And I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty exciting, but I could be wrong. I'm a long-term shareholder regardless of the time that it takes. Okay. OpenAI ended up showing off some new open weight models that are immediately available on Amazon, through Google, through a bunch of these new clouds. So Amazon was very quick to integrate them. I thought that was very interesting. More options, more innovation, more possibility, says Amazon, as they deepen their relationship with OpenAI. It'll be available on Amazon Bedrock and Amazon SageMaker AI. So I thought that was great. I think the market had oversold Amazon after earnings. And if we actually really look at what they're able to do, AWS continues to climb. They're not going as fast as Microsoft, but Microsoft has benefits that will run out over time, just through migrating companies that have been with Microsoft but not on their cloud to then transferring over to Azure. So they can only go through that bucket for so long. And on the back of that, they still have every single benefit that they can help with: optimizing routes through artificial intelligence, optimizing, human labor costs with humanoid robotics, and just the thousands or tens of thousands of different integrations that they make with artificial intelligence. I think that that'll be one of the largest touch point businesses for artificial intelligence in the cloud, in Amazon.com, in the other companies that they run, like Waymo. I think that we get a day where, Waymo run, or sorry, not Waymo. I meant Zoox. My apologies. Not Waymo, Zoox. Where Zoox ends up helping take Amazon trucks to, their destinations, or Rivian, or whatever form of that it will be. Taking a humanoid robot with them, delivering packages, going off to the next location. It's just very interesting. Tanner, do you trade? I'm guessing not. No, not really. I like to make small bets, but they're with tiny percentages of my overall, like share or whatever. Just a 1% margin improvement will be massive of Amazon's $167 billion gross revenue. I know. And yeah, they're going to be the first company that's going to generate $1 trillion a year in revenue. They'll probably do that in 2 years or so, 3 years. I think it's 2027, right? Is when they're expected to do $1 trillion in revenue, surpass Walmart. So if they can improve margins from there, that is going to be such an improvement on the stock. Andy Jassy, not a great storyteller. Okay. If Alex Karp was running Amazon, it would be worth $8 trillion. But you can't get people excited if you don't sound it, I guess. Sell off in August, September, October? I don't know. I don't try to play it. I would not forgive myself if I ended up selling off a portion of my, like a large portion, like 25% of my, shares, and then it ends up just not end up doing what is not a guarantee, but a trend, meaning it's potentially more likely to happen than not, but not 100% guarantee that it will end up lower in September. I'm just not going to bet on that. Do the billionaires trade? I don't think so. However, I don't know them well enough. Let's take a look at the community fund. Let's see how we're doing this day. SoFi, although being down 1.2%, and it's our largest holding at 26.9%. So remember, guys, I have to keep reaffirming because the chart is down. This is not, I did not pick these stocks, okay? I'm not holding 90 positions. Well, I am, but that's due to your guys' fault, okay? However, let's hope that we've bottomed in the beginning of August and that we're starting to recover. SBET now up 5%, only a 10% allocation on the full fund. That used to be 40%. There was some sanity that came into the markets to add to it. Now, I actually, what's her name? Dookie Pie suggested that we rotate some of these funds into AMD. I wouldn't mind doing that with some of it, but I actually don't feel bad holding SBET at these prices. This is the funny thing. I've kind of become a little bit of a degen myself. Call me a trader or whatever. But the idea of a treasury for Ethereum makes a lot more sense to me than for Ethereum versus Bitcoin because of the staking activity. Okay, it makes these treasury companies much more of dividend-esque businesses and probably allows the multiple to be much higher. At these low prices, I actually think that, potentially we should add to it. So I've been adding to it on my own portfolio, but I don't want to change the process of the I don't want to add to the community fund with my own money, because I do want to see how you guys do versus me, rather than myself adding to the outcome. Or else we wouldn't have half of this stuff. We wouldn't have any of this. But all this stuff at the bottom is what we're going to have to talk about in terms of coming in and chopping off some heads here. Okay. What we're going to do, this is going to come up a little bit later. So we started this fund in July 8th. It's now August 5th. So it hasn't even been around for a month. I'm down 12%. We can't keep this up. Okay. We're going to end up coming out with a stream that is a fund update. We're going to get all the contributors of that, which many of you guys are in here. We're going to make sure there's mandatory attendance. Okay, there has to be. And we're going to talk about what we are going to do about the positions that have performed not as well. I'm going to be ready to ban users. I'm going to be ready to time out users. Some of you guys are going down. Okay. Dookie Pie would be going down if she wasn't the biggest donator. So she's safe. Call it, the rich don't have to have the same rewards as the others. I don't care. She bought access. So corrupt politician, corruption, a little bit. But you know what? This is Tanner World. So I get to choose. It'll probably be once a quarter. Heads will roll. Okay, we're going to rotate out of some of these positions unless people can put up a case for why we should continue to hold it. Now, that's the weird thing about investing, right? Is that CoreWeave, at this point, we're down 16%. Now, to say, hey, it might, it's not about will it go 15% higher from where we bought it at? No, it's actually about should we continue to hold at these prices at 111? Okay, that's much more important to me. So we're going to take a look at the returns on these stocks as like in the day that we actually look at them. Amazon, one of our lowest on the list. This is not because it's one of the worst performers, but because let's see, is there a name that's dropped more than BMNR? 20%. It's one of the larger positions. But we've seen larger or more frequent donations for BMNR. Okay. Amazon has not seen a lot of donate. It looks like one person has donated. Probably like $10 for Amazon. Which, shame on you guys for giving me much more BMNR and CRISPR and Fiserv and all this, and not giving me Amazon. But that's all right. It's not my decision. It's yours. Okay. However, I am going to make an executive decision, or we'll have to think about it. Like maybe we just pull for it, but I'm sure Amazon does not get cut here. Okay. I don't think Uber gets cut here. This is not whenever we go, oh, you know what? Uber's one of our underperformers. We get rid of Uber. No, it's take a look at QuantumScape down 27%. And let's review the outcome of QuantumScape for the next 9 months that it's supposed to be in this portfolio. Well, Evan, this is what's going to happen, brother. So on the day of, whenever we go to talk about these positions, if Honeywell is underperforming, I'm going to have to go to the investors who have put Honeywell into this portfolio, which just, I'll be 100% honest with you guys. It's only Evan. Okay. And we are going to have to make sure that, hey, does this deserve to be near the top, our 19th most invested stock, down 2%? I'll probably talk to the donators of Lumen first, down 17% at our 13th highest. And Novix, Novix, 18%. Oscar Health, Immunity Bio. Heads will roll. Heads will roll. So keep an eye out for that stream. It'll probably be in the next 2 months. We'll probably have to schedule it early because I want to make sure that the people who have donated end up showing up, that they have some form of camera or microphone. I don't know how we're going to do it. Maybe not, like, I'm sure some people are going to be camera shy or whatever, but we are going to put people on trial. And yes, I am looking for gavels on Amazon. And I need a powdered wig and some sort of judge's robe. Well, I think we need to do both. Like, I need to be a judge, but also an investor in one. Anyway, heads will roll. It's going to be nasty. It'll be one of the nastiest streams we've done. It'll probably be age restricted from the amount of banning and upsetting that we're going to do in chat. So, yeah. Good luck to you guys. Dookie, you better be careful with your words. You're going to have to come up and talk about SBET. Okay? Oh, I'm being so serious right now. We're absolutely doing it. We are having a future investing community portfolio Q3 review plus jury trial. I mean, it has to happen. Have you picked, Tanner? Picked what? I don't know what you mean. Yeah, we're doing an audit. We're doing an audit. Q3 report. Judge Tanner will be here. There's going to be, it'll be fun. So maybe we'll try to do that to the day. Does that actually work? Let's see. Let me check the calendar here. October 8th would be a Wednesday. We could do October 8th. That'll be the stream. And then the 8th of every month, we're just going through the ban list. Just bye, goodbye, goodbye. Just sending people away. Love you. Appreciate the donation. You're gone. More JPM, please, said Fighter Destiny. Absolutely. Thank you, brother. I'm sure you're probably safe with that. Thank you. I do appreciate it overall. We'll have some fun, but I mean, if I don't ban someone that hasn't donated to me, it's not going to be a success. Like, someone's got to permanently go. I'm sending half of you away. The people who have supported the channel the most, gone. We start over, Thanos style. That's yeah. If you'll know the mood that I'm in, come like October 8th, whether I'm in a full purple suit or not. Like, like full bodysuit, purple. What are those called? Morph suits? Yeah. Get lost. um Oh my god, that's so fun. I've seen people who have donated that are like, I did not know this was part of it. Oh. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, we're going full courtroom. We are. And then, yeah, we'll probably keep, well, I don't know, because if I just end up taking that money and then putting it into what I want to put it in, then it's just going to become my portfolio. So I think that we should vote as a group on what, if we want to rotate out of, I'm sorry, it's just the smallest name right now, QuantumScape, and put it into something else. We can talk about it as a community, which I'm sure is just going to go mainly into SoFi. I'm sure if I were to put in a list of things that people want to put it in, it's going to be SoFi. But I'll let you guys decide that. You should pick 5 stocks to distribute it into. Yeah, but I want you guys to have that decision. Do you have a gavel? We will have a gavel. I will have a gavel. We will be gavel ready. Put up a poll on the website. Yeah, that's what, you know what? That's what we will do. I'll end up updating the community fund Notion site or Discord, and making sure that we know what people want. It's not going to be a fairy wand. It's going to be a manly gavel. Okay, not getting a fairy wand. Supposedly Nubank uploaded like a 43-minute long podcast with David Velez. I'm really excited to listen to that tonight. Nubank presents the future of finance. All right. I think it's literally a podcast. Milk stock. I don't know. Dookie, you're down to like $8 more. You have $8 left. There should be more stocks than what is listed right now, Tanner. List has not been updated for August 1st, August 4th, and today yet. It might not be. Let me check. I have been known to be delayed by a day, but they do end up getting updated. The last one was on... Sorry, wait, where's my... The last one was on, July. Yeah, so we'll have to update it for the other days. I think we have about 8 donations that we'll have to update them on. So we have additionally AMD, JMP, SoFi, Nvidia is another one that I'll have to add to. Airbnb and Rick stock. And Okta. Yeah. And Salesforce, sorry. Those are the... Okay, I went through the list. We're done now. Damn, I'm late. Uzi, you're late, brother. I'm negative 120K, like on your total investing portfolio, or just in the last few days? It does suck. Just today on AMD. Yeah. Honestly, Dookie, and I don't know if you emailed me that one time. I don't think I ever received anything, but these types of moments, I think you're honestly okay. Not saying that you'll outperform the market or anything, but in terms of actually being down on this portfolio or on this investment over time, I think AMD will be a fine investment. You know, I'm in calls, LOL. Okay, well, I can't. Then you got to make sure that your calls are on point. But the good thing about buying shares is that you can be wrong. That's my birthday, Dookie. That you can be wrong on the timeline of your investment, but you don't have to be wrong on the actual stock in general. And the truth is that stocks actually do end up going up over time. I mean, you can pick stocks that end up going down, but it is my birthday. October 17th is my birthday. I'm only like a week or so off, or 10 days or whatever, off from Amit's birthday. We're born on the same year, just a few days apart. Yeah. I know people say that it's my birthday every day, but that is my birthday. But yeah, if you end up buying shares for the long term, then you just need to make sure that your company is still growing and doing well over time. And I think in the market that AMD is working in, it would be hard to mess it up. I still personally like Nvidia more. I think that my success is guaranteed there. There were a lot of claims that, AMD versus Nvidia, who gets to 200 first? These sort of things. And people made it seem very obvious that it was going to be AMD. And then earnings like this happens, and then people go, oh, well, it actually might be Nvidia now. But, a week before this, it seemed absolutely obvious that it was going to be AMD. But yeah. I know it's hard to buy the biggest and most expensive company in the world, but they're usually there for a reason. And as long as that reason doesn't change, I don't know. Big companies can get bigger, and some people don't see it that way because they look at a company's total market cap and they see where it's been and they go, okay, well, how can it continue to go higher? This is the highest they've ever been. But if they print more money and that brings down multiples, they can go higher. It's that simple. Well, AMD will go back up for the OR earnings run for Nvidia. For the pre-earnings run for Nvidia. I hope so, but I can't make that call. I don't know. I've never been a good predictor of the motions of stocks. I've just been, well, I'm not even necessarily good, but just what I think that I'm good at, and I'm biased, obviously, is that I'd like to think that I would know more about where the fundamentals are going. There's trends to that. There's things that I can predict there. I don't know how how the market's going to react to it, but that has done me well so far. And I think that Nvidia is going to put up great numbers. So I don't know what that means for the stock, but I think the numbers will be good. Thanks for the dollar. Joined late. What's your expectations for new next week? Honestly, very tricky. I'm not 100% sure. I'd like to think that growth in Mexico is going to be pretty spectacular. I didn't like where their app rankings on Apple Store has been recently. Mercado Pago has been at the top recently for quite a while. And Nubank has not been. And by the way, if you guys go to the Brazil charts for iPhone, Mercado Libre is 6th just on the charts in Brazil. Like, it's actually incredible. Like, I love this business so much. Let's go to so it's in Portuguese, so I apologize if you guys can't read this very easily. But like, look at what they're above here, and then Mercado Pago in 14th, Mercado Libre 6th, Mercado Pago 14th. It's incredible strength. Nubank 29th. Okay, so landing there, a little bit worrisome. What I'm going to do as well, let's go back, and then I think Mexico's is MX, if I remember correctly. I think I got that right. Mercado Libre 5th, just insane. And let's try to find Nubank. Maybe not here. Let's check finances. Oh, sorry, I passed it 30th. Nubank 30th. Now, Mercado Pago 12th. Just tiny channel checks just to see what I'm thinking about for Nubank. So that is a little bit worrisome. It is July, or sorry, it is August. It's not what we saw in Q2. But yeah, I'm very interested to see. I have a hard time predicting what these numbers are going to be for this quarter. Hope it's good. Hope we have a weaker dollar in this quarter. Yeah. Tanner's drunk. Tanner doesn't drink. Sober as a gopher. It's only coffee. Tanner, you like SBET over BMNR? BMNR better access to Wall Street and institutions? No? I mean, I'm sure that's the case to some degree. SBET had a better multiple on net asset value to the actual stock price. So the amount that you're actually buying the Ethereum on a premium was a much better price to pay on SBET whenever I first took, a stake in them versus BMNR. I'm sure they're both going to do great. And plus, the guy that just recently joined is like an ex-BlackRock guy who ended up making a lot of the original Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. And I think that his access to Wall Street will be pretty interesting. Sober as a gopher. Never mind. It's an old rap reference. Anyway. Sober Club. Tanner is drunk. Tanner seems drunk. No, man. There's nothing but water in here. There's no secret. I don't know if anyone can see. I'm just going to end up spilling all over my desk. It's just water. This is watered down coffee because I let the ice. Anyway, this is not. No one cares about this at all. Just got here. He gets here and I'm holding my cup. Do you guys see my water? Like, just the dumbest. Yeah, same color as vodka, eh? Tanner, you remember whenever I screamed at you guys to look at Oracle a few months ago? All right, bro, you were right. It was a good call. Don't bet against Larry Ellison. AMD is a tragedy. I think you guys will be fine. I don't even know why it's sold off. Like, it sold off before the quarter, so you can't even say that Lisa's comments were all that bad to make it drop too terribly. I mean, guidance looked good. You raised guidance by 4.6% over Wall Street expectations, and it was lower on the margin basis by 0.3%. That is net a positive. Started drinking because of the show. Dude, I am coming on to talk about your guys' picks. My picks are doing fine, okay? Aside from Shift 4, which could have been better, I was all ready to go, okay? And then they ended up showing off earnings, and boy, oh boy. Honestly, I actually thought their earnings were fine. It wasn't as great, like it wasn't exceptional, but it was fine. And that stock dropped like 16%. It's incredible. What are the company requirements again to add a company to the community portfolio? I think it's like no leveraged ETFs. I literally have the thing right here. Donation of a minimum of $10. You can only pick one stock per donation. It can be foreign companies, but they have to be listed like on US exchanges. Minimum of $1 billion market cap. No leveraged or inverse ETFs, options, crypto assets, preferred shares, SPAC warrants, or OTC pink sheet securities. Steve, as I was explaining it, didn't see the $10 donation. It's all good. Still love you, Steve. You're a valued member of this community. Dookie Pie only has $8 left, but somehow gifts 10 memberships. Once again, being the greatest supporter of the channel, allowing everyone to gain access to the, after hours shows, any other member benefits, green chat, ability to be, I don't know, have a badge beside your name. It's not that cool of a thing, but it is awesome that Doogie's such an amazing supporter of the channel. And I do, Doogie is VIP and MVP. It's true. Yeah, did I win the lottery? Yeah, I did. And 10 other people did too. Maybe not as much, but you know. Don't lie, Tanner. I used to say the same thing about my teachers in middle school. I have literally no clue, Nick, what you're referring to, my friend. Are you talking about the drinking part? Is that what you're saying? No, I sure hope that's not what you're talking about. Jeez, donations, chill. Would you send me your mailing address, please? Thank you, bro. For what? I don't think so. Thank you for the donation. Brian says, buy some RSI. Always enjoy the content. Brian, thank you, brother. You've been around for an extremely long period of time. I've always appreciated the support, my friend. I will absolutely buy some RSI. To me, RSI means relative strength index, but to you it means Rush Street Interactive. Wow. They have quite an interesting chart, though. Holy crap. Just in the last 5 days, they're up 21%. In the past 3 months, they're up 63%. Holy crap. Another 10 gifted Dookie. The whole chat just says this person received a gifted membership. This person. Congratulations to Jason, Sean, Venom, Lewis, Connor, Dave the Rave, Canman. Canman's been around so long. We see him in chat all the time. Jason Cody. Congratulations. I love that it's random. Put this Dominion Energy is about to be a growth story. What do you think it means for the market and the economy? Sorry, the chat's moving. The market and the economy in general, that Nvidia is now worth more than the entire U.S. Industrial sector combined. Yeah, I do think that we do need more energy stocks, not only in this portfolio, but in my own portfolio as well. I just don't know how to gain pure access to the AI names while still buying a great name and not like buying something that might be a startup or some of the plays that people have suggested to me have been great energy plays in a data center environment, but not 100% proven, or they talk a big game, but I just don't see it in the actual numbers. Like, I need to find the name that is the energy play for a large data center build out. And maybe that's all of them. Maybe that's just, utilities and large names like Google just end up partnering with them and require more demand, which actually ended up happening. So I don't know. Overall, I think it's just a matter of could just be an S&P 500 bet, and you're just going to end up seeing those benefits overall. But LEU, I think they actually did earnings today, right? I think we had them on the list, and they jumped up quite a lot. So Centrus Energy, LEU, in the after hours actually jumping up over 9.4%. Maybe that's the next one. Raul says next VG. What, LEU is the next VG, or you're saying the next one I need to look at is VG? Nubank podcast is emphasizing picks a lot. Ooh, what else did it talk about? I would love to know. From 157 to 163, add AMD. Are you saying with your memberships? I won't do memberships turn into donations. It's a Dookie Pie exclusive. She likes to turn the chat green and not just send a message, which is perfectly fine with me. But if that's what she wants, someone was asking. Okay, well, I'm just talking to myself then. You need a guest who's an expert in energy. I know, but I don't. Give me a name, It's really not a space that I know very well. That's the only problem. The only thing why I'm even remotely interested is just listening to every earnings call in the hyperscaler space and just saying, hey, I didn't want your address. AI took over. Okay. Just copied his clipboard onto the... Sounds good, Steve. Well, make sure to buy, I forget what it was, Applied Digital, something like that. I'll double check. I screenshot all the donations. I forget what I was answering before he put up that chat, but either way, I want to get into the energy space because whenever you listen to commentary from any of the large hyperscaler names, that they're saying that that's the real bottleneck. And bottlenecks to me mean expansion of margin. But yeah. What is your running times? What does that mean? You mean like when I'm streaming? When I actually do runs? Like on my feet? My actual running time's not that quick. I can show you though. How fast is your best mile? It's not going to be that good, guys. I like to run, but I've never said I'm any good at it. Uno momento. Okay, I don't actually know how to find it in Samsung's thing. I stopped using Strava and started using the Samsung Health thing, which calculates and tracks everything, and it's been great. But then pulling up my past runs, I actually just don't know how to do that. I don't know. I'll have to find it later. I think it might just be in the daily activity thing, and then I have to find it that way. I'm not sure. Not sure. In such a better mood after a run. Yeah. Yeah, no, I have a Samsung watch. That's why. Yeah, that's why I ended up using all the Samsung products. Chill. Only thing the bad part that I find about it is the battery life. What's a mile? 1.6 kilometers. I'm not going to forget from that last stream. That's so funny. In Canada, we say kilometers. It's true, yeah. Should be your first page. It's literally not my first page. The first page is just like everything. Your energy score, your steps, and then it shows workouts, but then it's not like, yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to find it here. I have about a 6-minute. Is this how you read it? 6:30 per kilometer per kilometer on a 5-kilometer run. I don't know if that's how you read it. 6:30 per. Yeah. I'm saying kilometer. Kilometer. Like that. Or well, yeah. Yeah, it'll be hard for me to translate what it is into a mile, but yeah. How many Fahrenheit in a 2.2 kilometer run? What's going on with AMD? I don't think that the data center build out and the operating income on data centers exclusively was as good as what Wall Street. Well, it wasn't. Like, it was better than they expected, but it also is still kind of poor. But it wasn't about this quarter. It was about guidance and into the future. And guidance looked good, but then whenever comments were made on the call about, like, okay, well, what is it going to look like, or when do we get to that $10+ billion quarters that people are expecting into the future, the commentary on it was just sort of lackluster. So there's no AI bubble, at least not for the hardware names. But yeah, I didn't actually think that the quarter was all that bad. All my credit cards are cash back. Tanner, what's your favorite cybersecurity names? Well, I don't know if I have one yet. The ones that I continue to look back on are CrowdStrike and Rubrik. Insane growth, good market share taking. Those are the ones that continuously pop up. Continuously. But yeah, let's check really quickly what tomorrow's earnings are, so we know what we're doing tomorrow. I got to get a new chair. I actually feel like I should. I don't move as much in the chair because I'm worried about how much noise it makes on the mic. That's a problem because it's impeding how I move. I gotta change it up. Tomorrow morning we have Uber, Shopify, and Disney. It's just whether I want to get up in the morning. Shopify is like the second largest name I have in my portfolio. It honestly, I might go live for that. Do you guys want me to go live for Shopify? I don't know. In the next, at the close of the day, we have Joby, IonQ, Elf, Occidental, Lyft, Dutch Bros, HubSpot, Zillow, Sunrun, that fuel cells, one, AppLovin, Airbnb, Duolingo, DraftKings. So at the end, those are all at the end of the day. At the start of the day is Shopify, Uber, Disney, McDonald's, Oscar Health. I should just go live for both. I know I should. Are any of you guys even going to show up tomorrow if we do Shopify? Do any of you guys actually care? Be honest. Do you care about Shopify? Because to me, it's like a hard question to be asked because it's like one of my favorite companies, but no one cares. And I don't know why. Stuff to Watch says no. Literally in his name. What he's going to watch? No. Is Shopify something that Stuff to Watch is going to watch? No, no. No, too early. Yes. Yes, just record it for me. That's fair. What time? And yes. A lot of no's. So that will probably be, I'll probably go live for like, the earnings call is going to be at 8. I want to talk about Uber, and I probably want to talk about Uber, Disney, and Shopify. Those all excite me to some degree. We'll probably need like at least 15 minutes, something like that, to go through it, even if we just touch on the very highest level. Yeah, I'll probably go live at like 7:45, I guess, and then listen through the whole call of Shopify's, which will be a full hour. I'll send another 200 memberships if you guys show up. Guys, help me out here. I'll go live for Shopify if it means that Dookie Pie is going to be there. I mean, that'll get anyone out of bed. I am stressing out my sleep score. I get 8.5 hours almost every single night. I got 8.5 last night. It's my ability to drink a ton of coffee, work out, have a sauna, have a shower, go to bed is perfected at this point. Less sleep is better. No doctor has ever said that to me once. I think your wife is buying your coffee. Am I slurring or something? Why do I sound drunk? I'm just happy today. I think I'm too happy for Dookie Pie that she's like, he's loaded. Yeah, I'm giddy. Yeah. Yeah, markets have been insanely great. I don't know. People in investing and the viewers are making fortunes on, the investments that we're talking about. Couldn't be happier. WD-40, way ahead of you. Okay. I got a whole basket of tricks right here. I just pull out whatever you need. Okay. Just not a gavel. Don't say a gavel. I'm not ready for that just yet. But give me like a week. Am I selling new? I have not sold new yet. I'm definitely going to wait to see this quarter. But I do have these thoughts about holding on to new through the Trump administration would be, or could prove to be very tough. Sponsored by WD-40. No, it's just squeaky chair. And Evan said that he was going to get me a Herman Miller chair sponsorship, but I haven't heard. I haven't got an email yet. Someone's got to send me like a really nice chair link, and then like what are some good chairs? Someone else said other than Herman Miller, they named another company. That was pretty interesting. Maybe I'll just go with the Herman Miller. Just go big or go home, Office chair. Yeah, maybe I just go for a Herman Miller. That's when I've made it. How can you be humble sitting in a Herman Miller? Like I can't get up and try hard and work hard from silk sheets. Maybe I lose all my drive once I'm sitting in that fancy chair. Steelcase? Does Steelcase make chairs? Who the heck is Herman Miller? Herman makes fancy chairs that cost like, I think like $6,000. They're over expensive, but supposedly everyone just says they are the best. Okay. I've never even been in one. I've just always known that like the people that I know have said that this is the best chair ever. So I'm like, you know what? I gotta do it. But the truth is I probably won't end up buying one. Oh man. That's so funny. Yeah, you guys come back. Like one stream and I'm just sinking into a beanbag chair. Just the mic is just, I'm all the way over here. Beanbag chair, just way out. That's when you know. Well, I guess two things. Either my portfolio has sunk to the ground or it's gone up way higher than we could have ever have imagined. Either way, that is the end state of future investing is I'm going to be the actual couch investor. We're going to be beanbag investor. I have Amazon shares. Should I add more or sell? Why would you sell? You need the money. You got a better investment. Do you not believe in the company's short-term future? Why do you need the money? If not, I mean, do you really think that Amazon's future is less than what you're expecting today? Because I don't believe that. Go live from your bed. Go live from your shower. Go live from... What's going on? It's beanbag chair or this. I mean, like, love me for me. Okay. Get a love sack. When will Tim Sweeney come back on the channel? Good question. I talk with Tim Sweeney all the time. All the time. I could have him on tomorrow, probably, assuming that he's not busy. Dude is busy constantly, you know. But if you guys like, maybe we wait for the 10Q from SoFi, and then we get him on and we sort of ask him about the full report that we got from SoFi, not just, you know, the half report that we've seen so far. Let's get all the numbers, you know, and then we can ask him about the dilution. We can ask him about the quarter, what he's doing with his stock. We already probably know. I mean, I don't see him selling anything. Tim Sweeney not related to Sydney Sweeney, right? I don't think so. Haven't heard anything about it. Someone said Nvidia's running. Well, it's down in the after hours right now. After hours is over. We're in overnight now, but ended after hours at 176.81, falling a little bit with AMD. However, AMD fell 6.3%, and then even further in overnight markets, AMD only down less than 1%. I have huge belief in AMD still. In Nvidia still. I have belief in AMD. I'm just not a shareholder. I've got a lot of respect for Jensen Huang. That's the horse that I've drawn my cart to, or whatever the saying is. Maybe my coffee was spiked. I am in a happy mood. I got to go make some dinner and feed some dogs, Tanner. I think that's a good idea, Nick. I'm going to join you in that direction. Not join you, but I am going to also go. Ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you guys all coming out to not only talk stocks, just have a little fun as well. We were kind of all over the map with the community portfolio, things that we're going to do tomorrow. I think I will be live tomorrow for Shopify. if you guys want to be there, make sure you're subscribed. You hit that notification bell. That way you know when I am live. But most likely, more than not, I'll have that stream set up by the end of the night tonight, and try to add chapters to this for people that didn't end up getting to see the news parts and came in a little bit later. I'll try to do that as well. But until next time, thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time, but bye for now.